couldn't.
Welcome to Manhood Academy podcasting. And for this special edition, we have an entire classroom full of students.
Woo! Is that what you call this? Podcast?
Yep.
Sweet! Well, you're not useful for any other reason, so why wouldn't I?
Might as well.
It's not like you're going to be picking up chicks, so why not?
Yeah, I shared an interest last night.
I'm your host, Professor Plum, and we have with us the Boggles. We have with us Franchise, and we have with us this mysterious guy, who is one of our students.
The artist formerly known as Totally Dude.
Don't
worry. A little bit of evil hair.
Okay, so we're going to take you through a basic classroom, so you get a chance to see what it's like here at Manhood Academy, what goes on here, and we're going to go around the room and see what's going on with people. Franchise, what's going on with you?
Well, so I'm still on my implementation process of implementing all these wonderful lessons that I've learned here. So I'm at the point right now where I've gotten pretty good at starting conversations, pretty good at advancing conversations.
You can start conversations and you advance conversations.
Yeah, but I don't advance them in the direction that I ultimately want, which is something romantic, sexual, etc. And I mean, that's emotional struggles, emotional issues on my part, but like all the other emotional issues, it's going to be overcome by getting out there and, realizing it's not so bad to actually stay interested in a girl and tell her you like her, etc.
Sweet. So I've been following everybody's, experiences in the experience section of the forum. You posted about, basically greeting girls. I think you talked about stating interest in, maybe one, if I recall, but it's not too often, I would say.
There was the one time we went out to bars, last October or something. That was
last October.
Dude, way back when.
That's ancient history.
Yeah, dude, that was I at least did it 2 or 3 times to see that it's possible, it's humanly possible.
So it's possible to tell a girl, hey, I like you.
Yeah, exactly. But that was after 20 minutes of conversation, and there's nothing else to possibly talk about. I'm like, dude, there's no other reason she'd still be talking to me unless she kind of liked me, so I might as well, dive in and take this somewhere. So
exactly.
I'd like to get that to where it's
I'd like you to get that to where that's going someplace.
Short.
I'd like to never hear you talk about wanting to tell a girl you like her, and from now on, just hearing about you telling me that you said to a girl, "Hey, I'm attracted to you. Hey, I like you. Hey, you're beautiful. Hey, you're sexy," etc.
I would like that too.
Great.
I'm gonna have to get out there and actually do it.
Because you're the human explain-a-thon. You like to talk about what you're going to do and what you hope it'll be. But I want you to be the human experience-a-thon, where you just start relating the experience of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can relate the experience of other things, so if I can do that, I can do that.
I don't want other things. I want that thing.
I want that thing too.
I want to live vicariously through your experiences.
I want that thing too.
Girls' boobies through your eyes.
Oh, I'll tell you all about the boobies. That'll be the first thing I tell you.
Mysterious guy. Oh no, okay, hold on a second. Wait a second. Beep, 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 beep. Pause. Alright, we're back. We had one of our shy students, he told us our story while we were pausing, and basically we'll have a recap. One of our top students, is dating a girl currently, and he has an expectation that he's not getting met. And so he's trying to enforce this expectation with this girl, and he's basically not putting his foot down. He's not saying, look, you're not meeting my expectation, therefore I'm going to apply some type of pain. He's not doing that. So then it goes a little further where he feels that there was another situation where they were supposed to go someplace and he wasn't invited to go, and so it created another problem, another violation of his expectations, like he thinks he was being disrespected by his girlfriend, etc. So finally, he gave me a call the other day, and we talked about it, and we talked about the importance of maintaining your expectations, meaning if this thing matters to you that much, you need to put your foot down, even to the point of breaking up, even to the point of saying, look, if you don't meet this expectation, you can hit the road. It's my way or the highway. I'm in charge of the relationship. This means that I'm caring for you, I'm taking care of you, I'm looking out for your needs. But by the same token, that means you need to respect me. And if you're doing things that are violating my expectations, that shows me you're not showing respect for my authority, for my care for you, for my protection of you in this relationship. So if you're not going to meet those expectations I have for you, get out. Don't be in the relationship with me, essentially. So eventually it came to that point. He ended up telling her, look, it needs to be done this way or you can leave. And so she chose to leave. So they've broken up. Now this could be one of two things. Typically when guys are just learning how to meet their expectations, exercise their authority, they're not very they're not very thorough. They address major problems, but the problem is they don't address the minor problems. And the minor problems are really where the rubber meets the road. It's when you nip things in the bud. That's the most important thing when you're maintaining your expectations is if one of your expectations is violated, not to sweep it under the rug. Of course, if it's minor and you don't have enough emotional investment from her, like let's just say you started dating her and you expect her to cook for you. But you guys just started dating and she doesn't have enough emotional investment in you to meet that expectation. Well, then you might want to wait, since that might not be an essential expectation for you. You might want to hold off until later in the relationship when she has more emotional investment for you to meet that expectation, to be more willing to meet that expectation. So you might want to just hold back on that expectation. But in this case, the student expressed that this was a really important expectation to him that shouldn't be violated, so he needed to address it. So again, this could be one of two things. So it could be that he's either not enforcing his expectations, meaning he's being lax, he's being negligent, and so she's slowly losing attraction. She doesn't want to be in the relationship anyway because he's not putting his foot down. He's not giving her his expectations. He's not caring about his expectations, which means he doesn't have any respect for himself. He doesn't say, hey, these expectations matter to me, and I'm expecting you to follow them. And when you don't follow my expectations, you're essentially saying my expectations don't matter. You're essentially saying I don't matter. So that could be one of the issues. Or it could be that she's just being stubborn. So when he breaks up with her, she's testing his authority. She may say, oh, he's going to come back. And again, if he's consistent, he's applying pain. He's saying, look, if you don't meet my expectations, we're breaking up. So she may think about that in the coming days. And this has been a common thing that's happened before too, where a girl, personally, I've kicked out. I can't think of how many girls I've kicked out from this place, but countless girls, and some of them haven't come back, but I would say more often than not, they have come back, or I haven't necessarily kicked them out, but I've said, look, if you don't do this this way, according to my expectation, we're done, we're finished, it's over. And it's gone anywhere from them leaving and starting off to coming back to passive-aggressive pleading, why are you being mean to me, why aren't you being reasonable, etc., to just straight-out compliance. But usually there's some initial struggle, there's some initial resistance, there's you could expect a lot of passive-aggressive behavior, trying to guilt you and shame you into doing things their way, meeting their expectations and giving up your expectations. So I don't want to second-guess it, but these are the two possibilities you basically have, are either you're not applying, or our student is not applying enough, is not exercising authority properly, is not applying pain when you should be exercising or should be applying pain. Or it could be that he is applying his authority properly, but she just hasn't been trained. She's just not clear that he cares about his expectations yet. And in the coming days, if she's emotionally invested in him because of he's exercising his authority properly, she will be emotionally invested in him. And as a result of that emotional investment, she's going to be basically wanting to call him back, wanting to get back together. She's going to be hurt, etc. So she's going to start texting him, calling him, saying, hey, she might be passive aggressive. She may be trying to deflect the issue, but it's basically, it always goes back to authority. She may just say, like, hey, why were you so mean that last time we talked? She may try to mischaracterize the whole situation, but he's basically just got to stick to his guns and say, look, this is my expectation. My authority matters here. My expectations are going to be met. And if she's emotionally invested enough, if he's exercising his authority properly, she's going to start complying. She's going to say, you know what, I care about you enough that I'm going to meet your expectations. So those are one of the two possibilities. So let's move on to our worst student of all, Bogler.
I like the order.
from
Best to worst.
That's the worst. What's going on, Boggs? What's up? What's up in Bogsland?
Bogsland, this week I stated interest to totally about 6 women.
Totally what?
Totally to about
Totally interest what? Totally
women.
what?
Stated interest.
Stated interest. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you put that in English for me?
I told 6 different women.
Women.
/ girls.
Girls and women? You told girls and
I
women.
liked them, and I wanted to take them out on dates.
You wanted them and you liked them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one was
Were you flapping your nuts back and forth like you're doing now
I was
with your
doing
legs?
some game movements.
You were doing some game movements?
A little bit of game movements
Okay.
going on.
Some game movement, right?
One girl on Monday in a pharmacy, I did it by myself. I was proud of it.
Yeah. What did you do?
Stated in, told her that I liked her and I wanted to go out.
How did that go about? You just burst in the pharmacy doors. You're like, hey, I like you.
I
As you can tell, Boggs is terrible at
as
his
narrating
candid expression
yes.
and bring other people into
the
his experience, because he initially just says, "Hey, I went to the pharmacy and told this girl I liked her." Now, if you just went off of that, what would you think, franchise? Hey, I just went to the pharmacy and told her I liked her.
I would believe exactly that. Right.
You would think he's an insane guy, just came in with his coat, flashed her, had no clothes underneath, and said, "Hey, I like you," right?
Might as well, those are the minor details.
Minor details, right. So those
easily.
minor details, because Bogler doesn't train to convey his experience, his reactions to his experiences in a coherent fashion, saying, "Hey, it went from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, and then I told her I liked her." He just says, "Hey, I went to pharmacy and told the girl I liked her."
What?
Initially, you think he's just a psychopath.
And I believe when he says, "I stayed interest to a girl," I would think literally that meant I walked up, "Hey, I like you, I want to go out with you," and then she probably said essentially nothing. So the story just ends there. He doesn't say anything else.
Because
nothing
he gives
more
her
to say,
no reason to respond to anything.
Well,
No reason for him. For him, you're basically saying. The way it sounds, he says, "I like you." Now she has absolutely no reason to respond.
Hey, random stranger.
Hey,
I
random
like
stranger.
You.
Thanks for that.
And that's the
great
end.
compliment. That's
right.
That's the end of that.
And I mean, I think the reason why he doesn't give any more details, it doesn't sound like there were any more details.
Now, actually, let me tell you something.
All right.
It's not that isn't impossible and that can't work. Okay.
Right.
Why is it possible? Let's cover on the possibility why it could work.
Well, a girl could just like the validation enough that she wants more validation.
The validation. Okay, of telling her that he likes her. What else?
Yeah.
Being direct.
Yeah, being direct shows at least some that you care about your expectations somewhat.
Right. What's that show?
Front.
Don't throw my pillows on the ground. Mysterious student number 2 just threw my pillows on the ground. Totally violated my expectations. I had to totally condemn and scold him. Okay. Sorry.
If you have if you're having a conversation with some direction, you're at least trying to work to some state of order, even if you're going about it.
Okay, so what's that mean? If you're able to create order, what's that mean?
It's attractive.
What's that imply? We're student number 3, Boggs. If you can create order, what's that mean?
You're giving the interaction some direction.
Which means?
You're working on getting your expectation met.
Okay, right? Which means?
I don't know what you're going for.
Well, I'm trying to get the right answer here. He's able to create order.
Yeah.
Well, what am I looking for? I'm looking for one answer.
I'm trying to create attraction.
Right. Because he's created order, he's created attraction. But what does that imply if he's able to create order? What does it imply about the person?
What does it imply about the person?
Yes.
That he himself is orderly?
But I'm not.
Okay, but what are we looking for that's most important here? If a person, how do you create order?
By having authority.
Okay. So if this person is creating order, what does that imply about this person?
That he can hold authority in a relationship.
He has authority. He can exercise authority. Okay. So just as quickly as he can say, "Hey, I like you. I want to go out with you."
Right.
That right there demonstrates I have authority to create order. Mm-hmm. So a girl, it's not a lot of reason because he hasn't demonstrated his ability to create order. He's just basically stated that he can do it.
He's tried to imply it.
He's tried to imply it by saying, "Hey, I want to go out with you," right? He can create an orderly social interaction. He can basically care about his expectations and state them. Mm-hmm. That's not a very orderly social interaction just to go up and say, "Hey, I just like you. Let's go out."
Right.
Hasn't really given her any reason to respond. But at the very least, he's caring about his expectations. He's giving her a direction, implying again that he has authority. He can create order, and that is attractive. So some girls will just go, "Hey, let's go out." Right? They'll just respond to that. That's enough. Mm-hmm. Not a lot, but some. Obviously, this wasn't one of them.
2 of them were married. Most of them, they said boyfriend.
Okay, so can we get back to you? Do you convey this story in a coherent way that makes sense? That other than you just came in with your jacket and flashed her and told her you liked her?
Okay, so I go to the pharmacy.
Okay.
And I'm going to buy some soap, and then I see this girl, and I see something on her T-shirt, so I just read it out aloud, and she.
Oh, just make an observation.
Yeah, and then she starts smiling. And then I
So being candid, not thinking of any cool lines. You didn't have any cool lines?
I just tried to emulate Professor Plum.
You said, I'm sorry?
I was just trying to emulate Professor Plum.
How so?
I've seen Professor Plum in the past being candid with women like that, and I just felt like doing that.
Being candid in what way?
By making random observations and making some commentary on those observations.
Okay, so in this case, you saw her shirt.
Yeah,
on
and I just read it aloud, yeah.
Okay.
And she smiled.
Okay.
I went and stood behind her in line. And then it was some massage thing or something.
Okay.
And she's becoming a massage therapist. And I was like,
so you're trying to get an Asian massage in the process. Happy ending.
She was an Asian.
You thought she was going to give you a happy ending.
Okay. And I was like, oh, so what is that? What's that all about? And she's telling me she's going to school, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, oh, cool. And then I was like, oh, you're going to be a cute massage therapist. And I tell her, I think I like you. And
Showing some approval because she's meeting your conversational expectations, I suppose.
And then I was like, I might want to go out with you. Go to the beach, get some lemonades, then maybe...
You and the lemonades. Going for some lemonades and the cheeseburgers.
I like the and then maybe part, dude.
And then maybe.
Yeah, I like what that's going to be.
I just like the everything is plural in the Indian world. Let's get the lemonades. We'll go on the carnivals and we'll eat the cotton candies.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then she's like,
so getting the lemonades.
My boyfriend won't like that.
Mysterious student number 2 is trying to suppress his laughter. Okay, keep going. So something she basically says she has a boyfriend wouldn't like it, right?
Yeah. I was like, you don't have to get him. She smiles.
Right.
And then she tries to get away to go to the cashier. We're standing in line.
Okay. So how would you characterize interaction?
Initially friendly, she was responding, but then when I state interest or I tell her I like her, maybe she really has a boyfriend. But at the same time, I wasn't like the super interesting guy where even if she had a boyfriend, she'd go out with me. So that's where they.
You hadn't really had enough candid expression to give her even a reason to go out with you.
Yeah, most of my interactions, that's the usual case.
Okay, but overall, how would you characterize the interaction between you guys?
Initially pleasurable, both enjoying the interaction, but later on, died.
Body language was good. Were you mumbling, anything like that?
Gay motion, but other than that...
Gay motion? There was some gay motion involved? Okay. A little bit of gay motion.
No hands in
What's gay motion for you? What's that mean?
Bit,
is rocking or something?
Yeah, a little bit.
Rocking back and forth?
Yeah,
okay.
But overall pretty stable. Not super excited.
Okay.
And, no hands in pockets. Using my hands.
Yeah, I hate when you put your hands in your pockets, alright?
She wasn't totally scared like in the past. If I did this 6 months ago,
right. She just basically wouldn't say anything. She just give you the look and run away. It's a good body language. It does a lot.
Yes.
Even if she's not interested, good body language does a lot.
It didn't bother me that I was glad I tried.
It can make the interaction friendly even if she's married or has a boyfriend.
Yeah,
actually,
which in fact happened the next day when I went back to work. This really cute Hispanic chick. She was maybe 32. She's like wearing hot black dress.
Hot black dress.
And black stockings and stuff.
Black stockings.
And there's the
hot
Starbucks again.
ass.
And I'm the only one speaking up. My
C cups, B cups.
Decent breasts.
Decent breasts. Okay.
And very cute face. And I go start talking to her.
As opposed to good. Swell. Awesome breasts.
Again, gosh golly, those are swell.
Again, no description, no entering into his experience because there's no candid expression. It's just they're great breasts.
I understand decent.
It's
that's
one
because
level.
I've known him for
it's
so
one
long.
level. It's like most people. It's like a classic example would be black guys. When they say, we commonly use this example.
It's all good, man.
It's all good, man. It's all good in the hood, right? But, of course, that's contextual. It's just like white guys saying, dude, or bro, dude, right? It's all contextual. They're trying to imply meaning with inflection, but you have to be privy to that context to even know what they're talking about. When they say, it's all good, does it really mean everything's going fine? Or, I don't care, I'm trying to wave off any bad feeling. I'm trying to stay above the situation. What does "it's all good" mean? So, again, there's an implied context, meaning the other person should already understand what I'm saying. So when Boggs says, "Hey, her breasts are decent," he's basically saying, "You should know what decent means in my head.
Right.
I shouldn't have to explain it."
Right.
Which is the opposite of what we teach here: is that you need to bring others into your experience. You assume that they don't know what you mean. Bring them in. Describe your reaction to her breast, to your experience. That's just an example. I don't mean that you need to do that, but I'm saying when you have an experience that you want to convey, if it's worth talking about, it's worth conveying that experience properly.
Right.
Which means you need to convey your reaction to that experience. If I have a good omelet, me telling mysterious student number 2, hey, I have a good omelet, that means nothing to him. Because good can mean any number of things. So I need to convey that reaction to that experience to the degree that I'm experiencing it. So I would say, for example, I had a delicious omelet, which is better than good. Talks about taste. It implies taste. It's about 5% better, not much better. I could say I had
some more details.
I had an omelet that tasted salty and cheesy and healthy. If you could call healthy a qualifier for food, a qualitative taste.
Yeah.
So I've improved the expression because I've split up my initial expression into finer degrees of expression.
Right.
And that's what really good candid expression splits that expression up enough so that the other person can finally step into that experience. Because most people can relate to cheesy, to salt, to health. I guess healthy, it's a little sketchy, ambiguous. But let's say I said, I had an omelet that made me think of a sunny day. It was so delicious. It had spinach in it. It had chicken in it. It had salsa on it, and it left a tangy, tart taste in my mouth. What does that do? What does that type of description do?
Creates a picture in my mind.
Well,
It creates a picture of things,
Yeah.
and it also talks about experiences that you might be able to relate to. What can you relate to in that description?
The sunny day.
The sunny day. What else?
Tangy taste in
The
your
tangy
mouth.
taste. You taste the tangy things.
Yeah.
What else?
The salsa. You
The
picture
salsa?
the salsa, and you tasted salsa before.
Okay. I could also break up the salsa description, right? I could
Onions,
talk about the
tomatoes.
salsa. I could talk about tomatoes, the flavor of the tomatoes, the tangy taste of the tomatoes. So there's a lot of there's infinite number of ways I could talk about the degree of my reaction to my experience of eating that omelet.
That way you also have a lot to talk about by breaking it.
Exactly. When
I
people
always
talk
feel like I
about,
don't have
hey,
anything to talk
I have
about.
nothing to say, it's because they ball everything up into one big Plato axiom of meaning. How are you doing? I'm fine. Well, in what way and to what degree are you fine? Now you have a billion things to talk about. But if you just say, I'm fine, yes, you've conveyed everything in your experience. It could very well be fine, but you haven't related that to the other person. You haven't made your experience, you haven't conveyed your reaction to a significant degree to the other person. I'm fine means nothing. When people say I'm fine, I just tune it out. I don't care. I'm fine is meaningless. You might as well say I'm orange. I'm steel. I'm Bertha. It means all the same thing to me. But when you tell me, hey, I enjoyed listening to this music today. I went and saw my friend and he took me on a roller coaster today. That gives me the degree, the detail of what fine is, what fine constitutes. And this is the important part of candid expression, not wrapping everything up into a convenient, lazy axiom, lazy descriptive term. I'm fine. Everything's good. It's all good. It's all good, yo. Completely pointless, completely worthless. So, onward, let's go. Keep going.
So,
Talk
yeah.
about your other experiences.
And she was like, I can't go to, I told her, let's go to the beach, get lemonade, same usual stuff. She's like, I can't go to the beach like this. I'm like, yes, you can. But anyway, and then she's like, oh, that's really sweet of you, but I'm married and stuff.
Oh, talking to married chicks. Okay,
Yeah.
sweet.
And then I shake her hands, I say, and
Shaking your hand.
Yeah. And then I hug her. And all my co-workers like,
Oh, you're hugging chicks now.
Yeah.
Look at this. Wow.
I've done that before too, where I hugged her
Okay.
after I spoke to her.
Okay.
And then I let her go. I mean, I tried. I say, hey,
So you
I
didn't keep her? You didn't throw her in your van after you hugged her?
I did.
So you finally did let her go. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's good. We advise people at this academy to not hug and hold, hug and take hostage, but to hug and release. Hug and let go.
Don't throw them in the pit in your basement. And have
Don't put them in
the
your
lotion in the
cement lined
basket.
soundproof basement, and don't throw them in your van waiting nearby. We always advise let them go.
Silence of the Lambs is not a required movie in the scores.
If you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it was meant to be.
There you
That's
go.
our motto.
And
Yeah,
one of
Manhood
my
Academy.
nerdy coworkers later tells me, like, oh, you can't hug people like that. I'm like, you don't know.
You can't hug people. And you told him what? You don't know.
You don't,
So you
don't
say
know.
that because it violates the sexual harassment policy, or because
No, I
like,
did
you
outside.
media
I did
ignore?
outside work. You just thought it was weird. Oh, people don't hug. I was like, you don't know. That's
You
what
don't know. You
Yeah.
don't know I'm allowed to hug. That's what you told him? You don't know. Girls want me to hug. Sweet.
Yeah, dude, I was in Vegas 2 weeks ago, and like my friends wanted like some girl. They wanted to like, oh, dude, we need to figure out like have a girl pick a number that we can like. We want to pick the closest number to see who gets the bed for the night or something like that.
What are they?
They like had 2 beds and 3 people, so they want to figure out who's the odd man out, right? So they're like, dude, if we find a girl, we need to like have her pick the number, like. Because to them, just talking to a girl is like a magical experience, right?
So they're already figuring in their mind that there's going to be a girl up in their suite, and they're just figuring out the sleeping arrangement.
No, dude, they just want to talk to a girl and figure out which of the 3 of them. The girl's not going to be in the suite.
They
They just
have
want
a
to
room.
talk to a girl.
Oh, they're picking a number to see who's
They're-
going to talk to the girl?
No, they're asking her
They
opinion.
want to ask.
This
okay.
is why it's important to practice.
Okay,
I have no idea what's going on.
Alright, sorry,
It sounds
sorry.
like a
I
lotto,
understood what he's saying.
it sounds like a
There's
lotto pick for girls right
there's
now.
three-
There's
there's-
3 girls, they
there's
kidnapped
12
them,
guys,
they
there's-
tied them up in the van,
Exactly,
and they're lotto
they're
picking.
picking numbers, dude. See which one goes first. Fuck sloppy seconds, dude.
This is leaving Las Vegas. It's Elizabeth Shue. She's getting. This is determining who's going to
Exactly.
rape her.
Exactly.
Okay, keep going.
Okay, so like, there's 3 guys, and they only have 2 beds in the room, so they need to figure out which one of the guys is going to sleep on the couch.
Okay.
Like, out of the 3 of them, right?
Right.
So they're like, dude, what if we get a girl? If we find a girl, we need to have her pick a number, and whichever one of us picks the closest number gets a bed. Right? That's what it is. That's what it is, right?
So if they do happen to get a girl,
Yeah, if they happen, no, dude, if they happen to talk to a girl.
talk to
If
her.
they happen to talk to a girl. And so, like, I'm
it
like,
results in
I'm
her
not
coming
gonna
up to
sit.
the suite.
No, dude, well, they're not going to get them up to the suite.
Yeah, but
They just
what does the bed picking have to do with it? I don't understand.
They
what
just
the
want
bed-
a girl
just
to
because
pick
they want an excuse to talk to a
to
girl.
a girl. Exactly. I understand.
I'm
You
totally
don't
confused.
understand how nerdy this is.
Yeah.
That's the
No,
point.
you
You
don't.
guys
It
understand
seems
how
like
nerdy
that you're
this is.
saying that they meet a girl, and now if she comes up to the suite, they're
No.
picking numbers.
No. No, dude, it's
I'm
not
missing
even
it.
that.
Okay, tell me.
Anyway,
Just an opportunity for
forget
you
I have to
be a
understand
random
this.
girl.
Forget the
Like, hey,
okay, forget the
hey,
details,
we
dude.
have a opinion.
Yeah,
We
exactly,
need your
dude.
opinion.
It's basically an opinion
We
opener.
want you to
Send
we want
an
you to
opinion.
pick a
They just
number
want
for
a
us so
number.
that you can decide. You can help us decide which
Okay.
nerdy guy.
My boss
fits
is
this one.
just
I got it.
It's that
This is
nerdy,
worse.
dude.
This is worse than I thought.
It is,
Yeah.
it is that
You
bad,
left
dude.
out-
That's the point of it.
He left out the important
That's the point
stipulation
is, dude.
that you're going to be saying this all to a girl.
Yes.
You're going to be coming up to a girl and say, "Hey,
Can you help us?
can you help us figure out our sleeping arrangement?"
Exactly.
Wow,
Exactly.
that's worse than I thought.
He said
It's
that-
that
I thought at least they were, planning in their heads, hey,
Like,
we're
how am I
either going
gonna
to
get the
kidnap,
girl,
take a girl hostage, or, somehow be able to seduce or attract a girl up to our suite, and we're going to have the fortunate problem of having to decide where she's going to sleep for the sex to occur.
Right.
But
No,
in reality, what's
That's in
it's
Professor
about
Bumble.
1,000 times nerdier than that, dude.
This
Increase
is
that
the wor-
nerd factor to like a million, dude.
That's a
And
different
suddenly
universe.
know what's going on.
This is a World of Warcraft Dungeons and Dragons problem, where
Yeah.
they're just saying, hey, we've invented a new mystery method, awesome opener. Instead of a time constraint, we're going to ask a girl, hey,
Help us with
girl.
the sleeping arrangements.
help us pick our sleeping arrangements.
Wow.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
a
dude.
pretty amazing.
But
That's
that's
a
the
pretty
worst part is
amazing,
that they were just
scenario.
hoping that they were talking to a girl by chance, dude. That's the worst part. They weren't even going to do it. They were just like, if we happen to be talking to a girl,
We're going to
then
use
let's
this
ask that.
sneaky
Yeah, then let's
plan.
ask her that.
That is
Sneak it in
Then
there.
let's ask her
amazing.
that. So I couldn't fucking take it anymore. So I'm not even in their room. I just find some chick and like tell her what's going on,
Right.
and she does that for her. And I'm like joking with her a little bit. And at the end, I give her. This is why I started telling the story in the first place.
Wait, so how did you first approach this chick? What did you
I
do?
just walked up to her. I'm like, "Hey, I have a super duper important question to ask you." And I'm
Right.
trying to like make it seem all super important.
Right.
I was giving a candid
You're
expression of my
basically trying
question.
to you're
asking,
basically
right?
trying to put her in the nerd laboratory and test out this nerd
Exactly,
scenario.
dude. But I'm at least trying to make it fun, dude. She's,
So you're just in lieu of this bad nerd experiment. You're just all you're doing to counteract it basically is injecting candid expression to
Exactly.
make it attractive.
exactly.
What you can do with anything, you
Right.
basically say the sky is
Yeah.
blue. Hey,
And-
the sky's blue.
Exactly, yeah. And the point is, at the beginning, she's like, "Okay, what's the question? Whatever." Then I keep like joking a little bit more, and then by the end, she's like, "Ha ha ha!" Oh, should I tell you the question? She like got into it. She like didn't want to violate the rules of the experiment and
Right,
stuff like
because
that.
you just made them sound dire,
Yeah.
like their life and death rules.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And so she got into it, and then at the end, I'm like, "Okay, sweet." I gave
Basically,
her a hug.
let's pause here. This is
All
like inserting your own conversational expectations. Whereas initially, if you brought this puzzle up to a normal person, they would think, this is retarded. Why am I
Right.
even bothering to answer this?
Right,
But if you have candid expression coupled with authority,
right,
which means now she might think it's retarded, but your authority is there to enforce your expectation, your conversational expectations. Your conversational expectation is, hey, listen to me. This is supposed to be important.
right.
At the very least, respect me when you're talking to me. So now you have to enforce your expectation, your conversational expectation. So if she thinks this is a nerdy thing to do, you need to apply pain to get her to comply with your expectation. So for instance, let's say I were to say, hey, Boggles, you're the girl. I say, hey, Boggles, us three nerds decided that we would have to pick our sleeping arrangement based on the number that you chose for us. And her initial reaction would be what?
Okay.
Yeah, okay, right? Totally violating my conversational expectations because I expect her to take me seriously, even though I know this is a totally retarded scenario. But I want her to participate and take me seriously. I want her to realize, hey, I'm a person with authority. I can create order. I'm attractive. So I got to convey that to her. So when she's violating my conversational expectation, I'm going to apply pain. I'm going to say something that I could use. What's one method I could use to apply pain in this situation?
You could belittle what she's doing.
And I could belittle what she's doing. How? So if she goes, okay, sarcastically, kind of, what are you talking about? Implying that, what would you do?
Like, no, this is not TMZ that you're looking at on your cell phone. This is real life. This is real situation.
Right, this is real life. He knows this is silly,
Yeah.
but all he's doing is applying pain to her reaction.
Yeah.
He's managing her reaction. He's basically managing his expectations. He's saying, my expectation is important. You better take it as important.
Mm-hmm.
So even though she's saying, okay, like this, what is this? This is nonsense. He's enforcing this nonsense by saying, look, don't act like TMZ, like you don't know what's going on here. This is an important thing. You need to help us. So you need to decide where we're going to sleep. Pick the number. Don't be retarded. Right?
Right.
Invalidating her, showing her disapproval. You can even ignore what she said and keep going on. Again, showing disapproval indirectly. So there's many ways to show disapproval to apply pain here. So because he's doing this, she's having what reaction?
She's having a good reaction.
She's having a good reaction because you're disapproving of her, violating your expectations.
She thinks
Now
it's
she
fun,
wants
yeah.
to meet your expectations. Now she's like, this is an important person. He's an authoritative person. He can create order. I'm going to go along with it.
Right.
I want to be involved now.
Instead of being a stupid, silly, lame thing, it's a stupid, silly, fun thing.
Fun thing now, yeah. It's become not even a thing that matters. It's a vehicle for you guys to talk, to have a conversation, to have an interaction.
Right.
That's really what you're using it for. It's just
Exactly.
a pretense and an excuse. Before she's discounting your pretense and excuse, now she's going, okay, it may be a pretense and excuse. I'll acknowledge that, but because you're an authoritative person, I want to participate.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have an interaction with you, basically, is what she's saying. Not that I actually care where you guys sleep.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so keep going.
So, I mean, in addition to, like I said, she's a little bit cold at the beginning, and I was just like, no, this is the super important, like,
Hold on a second, let me pause, because let me check the mic level here. I forgot to even put this up. We might be straining to get...
Testing.
Oh, I think we're pretty good. Okay.
Right.
Sorry to interrupt you there. Go back to your story. Go ahead.
So, I mean, I didn't really have to directly invalidate anything. She was a little bit hesitant
Okay,
at first.
we used to say invalidate. Why did we stop saying validate
I didn't
and
have
invalidate?
I didn't have to directly apply pain.
Right, but why did we stop saying validate and invalidate?
I don't know, actually, why.
It's-
Well, let's cover it.
It's
Boggs?
more direct to pain and pleasure are more direct, more relatable than using terms like validate and invalidate.
Exactly. This is another example. Public relations. No, it's not. This is another example of being more candid with your expression. Because we're having problems relating, what does it mean to validate and invalidate?
Right.
I don't know. If you've never done
So
it.
that's you relating your expression
Right.
to us.
So we're making it more comprehensive to you guys by just saying, look, invalidating is basically just applying pain.
Right.
And validating someone is just applying pleasure. That makes it more understandable, more comprehensive to you and to other people you're speaking to. If you guys say, look, this person's not meeting my expectations, I'm applying pain. Is that clearer than saying, this person's not meeting my expectations, I'm invalidating?
Right, it is, yeah.
So that's why
everybody
we're making it more
understands
simple.
pain and pleasure. It's simple.
Right, so we're making the terms relatable, more practical.
Right.
And then they, of course, they assume, hey, applying pain, you mean punch her in the face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's psychological.
That's
pain.
like that one dude who said, make it discomfort. Don't make it pain.
Make it discover, right.
Yeah.
He's getting the idea. He's bothered by the idea of the connotation of what
Right.
pain implies. When I say apply pain to somebody, automatically people think physical pain.
The
But
same
no, there's all
connotation
types
as
of pain.
authority, right?
Right, the same connotation of authority. Authority is bad.
They
Pain
think
is
authority is
bad.
Nazi Germany. They don't think authority
They
is
don't understand
the police
that
and the government.
authority, terms like pain, authority, discipline, have all been adulterated by our feminist PC
Right.
culture, have all been demonized. So now we're afraid to use the term pain. Apply
Right.
pain, that automatically implies
We're not
kill
using,
them.
not using the popular meanings. You're using the absolute.
We're
meanings,
using an
the actual
absolute,
meanings.
accurate meaning.
Right.
We're not being bullied by feminists into watering our terms down or diluting our terms so that they become meaningless. Because if we start going by adopting feminist terminology, our own meaning becomes inaccurate. Then when we're talking about pain, when we really mean apply a certain type of pain, we can't do that anymore because we're relying on inaccurate feminist terms to get our meaning across. So then we become confusing. We become vague in our
Right.
meaning. We become inaccurate. And we want to get away from that. We don't want to adopt that feminist strategy of euphemizing every term if possible,
Right.
diluting our meaning just so that it's acceptable to other people. Instead, we want to bring other people up in their education. Instead of going down to the lowest common denominator and accommodating everybody's
Yeah.
sensibilities, their Southern Belle sensibilities, we want to say, look, Floorface, you need an education. You need to understand what pain means. You need to understand that pain is a whole gamut of meaning. And we're specifically talking, we even explain what types of pain we're talking about. We're talking about ignoring, disapproving, using psychological pain, emotional pain, right? We're even very clear this is not physical pain. This does not mean punch a girl in the face. So in order to get to that point, we have to be very clear on our terminology. We have to define our terms, and that's what we do. We're being responsible with our terms. We're not just throwing them out there. We're not just saying it's all good.
Right.
We're not just assuming everybody understands our meaning. It's
Yep.
important to define our terms.
The other
So
thing,
then-
which I think always relates, like, back to when I first started in this course, I think, well, we still had invalidate and validate as the terms back then, but even when you would say invalidate means, no, what you're doing is wrong, don't do that.
Right.
Everybody was like, well, what's the cool way to say that, right? What's the way to do that where you're not, like, just straight up telling her, no, don't do that, because it seems like that's way far different from what an average guy would think to do in that situation.
Right.
So the meaning, again, got adulterated because people would say, okay, well, we're going to apply pain, but, like, what's, like, the right way to do it where you're not really
They're
fucking up?
bringing their basically their retarded understanding of what pain is, or
Right.
they're bringing their poor training,
Yeah.
and they're thinking that pain means say
Right.
something cool.
But I mean, like, important.
Invalidate means say something cool.
Right, exactly. So it's like, but for the guy starting out, it's like, if you try to, like, figure out, this is what probably cost me a year in my understanding, is like, how do you apply pain as opposed to just making them understand, no,
So,
really,
and
you have to make them understand this is wrong. That's the point.
Right.
The point is,
Not
no,
to say
don't
something
do that,
cool.
do this.
What happens if you make the goal to say something cool? What does that do to you?
Puts a lot of pressure on you, for one
You
thing.
become
Right.
neurotic.
You become neurotic, right?
Yeah.
So you start worrying about pleasing her, meeting her expectations,
Exactly.
because you're trying to think, what's cool so she'll think I'm cool?
Right.
What's the right thing to say so she'll approve of me?
Mhm.
You don't realize you're buying into her expectations without even meeting her, without
So-
even knowing her. You're already saying, how can I meet her conversational expectations? What's the cool thing to say to her?
So hopefully the word pain is direct enough to get across to guys.
Pain gets to
None
that
of
point.
shit.
Look,
None of that
she
shit.
needs the point is I'm trying to expose the problem here. I'm trying to expose the dysfunction. The only way to do that is she needs to realize she's the problem. If I keep catering to her expectations, her dysfunctional expectations, if I keep trying to justify myself, I'm going in an endless downward spiral.
I think it would be.
And eventually it becomes neurotic. You become neurotic and you start walking on eggshells around women.
I think if it would be important to specify psychological pain and emotional pain so that guys understand.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we've already done that. Too.
Okay.
Well, we've specified specific types of pain, like ignoring, disapproving.
I don't think instances of psychological.
I think
Right,
saying
but-
the word psychological pain would probably be worse because then people just
yeah.
think you're fucking with people. So it's not
You're
gonna,
using mind experiments.
Yeah,
Again,
exactly.
It has all these connotations because people, again, are uneducated with these terms, and they
Right.
need to really be educated with these
Right.
terms. So, I mean, we've already been specific enough when we say ignoring and we give examples of ignoring, or
Yeah.
we give examples of disapproval, how to disapprove.
Right.
It's already clear enough that you don't need to add the extra label of psychological or emotional. I mean, it may help
It
for
helps with my
accuracy, but
understanding.
Yeah.
it's really, if you already get an example and you know what,
Yeah.
there's a difference between physical pain and
Right.
emotional
Which you
and
have to
psychological
not
pain.
be a complete and total fucking idiot to do.
Exactly.
Which isn't a given, which we're finding
It's
out
not a
every
given
single
with-
day.
Yeah.
Especially
Every
with
day
this-
of our life.
This American educational system, which is a total fail. Yeah. We realize that guys just lose the ability to reason rationally, to reason competently.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't mean to interrupt you. So you're
That's all right.
applying...
Yeah, so basically
Applying
I was
pain to
saying
this-
I didn't really have to directly apply pain because, she was a little apprehensive at first, which was to be expected, just out of the blue, first thing I said. She's a little like, okay, what's going on? But then it was the expression of it. We have this super important question. It's like a math problem. See, there's 3 guys, but there's only 2 beds. It doesn't match up, right? So I'm very explaining, like, what's going on in my head to think of it.
Right.
She's getting more and more drawn into that. So I never really ran into any instances
Because
in that case.
she's getting drawn in because this is a cool nerd scenario, or what?
Well, because it's a cool nerd scenario, not just a straight-up nerd scenario, right?
Well, but what made it cool? It doesn't sound cool to me when you explained it. I thought it's the worst thing
It's
I've
my
ever heard of.
expression of it. Well, I may be a little more hurried right now, but when I said it, I was like,
Well,
being
don't worry,
very
tell me what it
direct.
means.
Being
So-
very direct with it, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Deliberate.
Can you give us an example of how you did it?
Saying.
Maybe that would make it clearer.
I'm
I'm the girl.
You're the girl.
Could you do it?
Hey, we have this super duper important question to ask you right now.
Uh-huh.
See, there are 3 guys right here, but there's only 2 beds between them. This is a math problem, right? 3 minus 2. There's a problem here, right? So they need to play a game called What's the Number in the Girl's Head that I can guess closest to? Like, I'm just,
It already sounds complex to me. If I'm a girl, I'm already like, huh? I want to go eat.
No,
I
she
don't
got
understand.
it. She was on it.
So she's smart enough. She's obviously smarter than me.
Right.
Is that what you're
She wasn't high or drunk or anything like that.
saying? Okay.
So, I mean, like basically the point was is that
You're
that,
saying, hey, you're basically being clear.
Mhm.
You have a direction.
Mhm.
You're leading her.
Mhm.
You're basically doing what?
creating an orderly situation.
Right,
for a
which
problem,
implies what about you?
that I have authority over the situation.
Exactly. So when she goes, a guy with authority talking to me,
She
being
follows
direct
along with it.
versus show me an unauthoritative way to do that.
An unauthoritative way to do that.
A non-authoritative way.
Excuse me, hey.
Excuse me,
can
hey.
You, can you help us with this
Um,
thing we're having?
What does excuse me imply? The way you said it, I should say. The way you said it is more
The way
important
I
than
said
what
it.
what
Your
you said.
expectations are not that important.
My
Right.
expectation's not that important.
Like if it's not
What are you
inconvenient
saying?
for you,
Yeah.
maybe you can
yeah,
help
yeah.
me.
Perfect explanation. So say that again.
It implies you're saying, giving the message to the girl, if it's not too important for you, if you
Right.
then
If your
maybe
expectation is not more important than mine.
Right. If it won't inconvenience
Yeah.
your expectation,
Right,
can you
yeah.
please meet
Yeah.
my expectation? Basically saying my expectation isn't as important as your
Right.
expectation. You're basically saying you don't have to listen. It's
Right.
optional.
yeah, but if you can,
It's like it's like a bad sales call. A good sales call is like you need this.
Right.
You need
Hey,
this
you,
snuggie.
listen to
You-
me.
look,
Yeah, exactly.
This snuggie that goes over your head, it's essential to your life. Versus a bad sales call is, I know the snuggie is, you don't need this. It's not a necessity at all. It's just a totally optional item and you're wasting your money. But
It'd be nice if you bought
It'd be
it.
nice if you bought it.
It'll be good for your collection. Yeah.
it would be good for your collection of
For your
dust
snuggie
on the
collection.
shelf. Right, so 2 different things being implied in how you're presenting yourself.
Right.
The authority you're conveying in not only your voice tone, whether you're mumbling or not, and also the ums and the can I please talk to
Right.
you? What else?
What other bad body
What other
things
bad
do
things
you
could you do? Can you think of anything?
Hesitation.
Hesitation. right?
Not looking in the eyes.
Not looking her in the eyes,
That's what I'm trying to say with
Shit the
delivery,
eyes.
is that I was looking directly at her and communicating
Mumbling.
directly to her.
right?
Direct
So
eye
that
contact.
helped a lot.
Mumbling.
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 What's mumbling imply? Yeah, but could you please?
Hesitation,
Your brain's basically disorderly. It's
Lack
not really
of-
Okay, but what's
free to
mumbling?
to your-
Lack
If somebody
of
mumbles to
authority.
you,
lack of authority.
right? Why?
Because you're fearing what the hell she's going to say. So she has she obviously has the authority if she's going to judge whether what you're saying. is
You're
good or
worried
not.
about what she's saying. She's going to think of you.
Yeah.
That's why you're mumbling, so
Right.
she doesn't really hear it.
So you don't have authority.
You're
over
trying
it.
to say something, but the irony is you're worried about what she's saying, so you're mumbling, so she can't
So
even hear
it
it.
makes it less likely. That's
Right.
going to work out.
That's also why do also what's another major thing guys do?
Hands in pockets.
That's a pretty.
That's not that major, but that's one of the things. Okay, what's
Another
another
major
thing?
thing?
That doesn't necessarily say so much about your authority.
Uh-huh.
Your hands in your pockets. It's just a bad habit that leads to other things. That's
Right.
that's
It's
another
usually
issue.
the
But
result of other.
Right. It's usually the result of like the insecurity, like you want to hide yourself or protect yourself. But what's another extremely bad habit
that guys have?
Yeah. What's another extremely bad habit with your voice? It has to do with your voice.
Speaking really fast.
Okay, speaking fast, speaking super duper fast. Why do people
monotone? Is that what you're going?
That's it.
That's a inflection. Why is inflection?
One of the number one problems, I would say.
Speaking with a monotone.
Monotone. What does the monotone mean?
Hey, do you want to go out with me?
Yeah. Hey, do you want to go out with me? What is that? Why do you speak in monotones?
You're afraid as to what the other person will think if you express yourself freely.
Right.
So you're very conservatively.
You're very constricted. You're very nervous.
Yeah.
You're very neurotic. So you don't want to use any emotion. You just want everything to be the same. So you're worried about how it's going to be judged. So it's plain. So you think the best course of action is this generic monotone.
I think most guys are just so stuck in the idea that the content of their conversation is so important. They don't figure it can make a difference anyway.
Right. So they're worried about the content, not their presentation. So they're like, hey, we have this problem. There's guys that need to sleep. And what does that say when I talk like this? What does that imply? What does that say to you? Hey, guys, we have this problem.
It implies it doesn't mean anything to you.
It implies it doesn't mean anything at all. To her, it shouldn't mean anything to her. Right? It implies you're like a...
You lack excitement about it yourself.
You're a waiter.
Right.
It's meaningless. It's optional if she even listens to you or pays attention to you. What was the other one that you said just before monotone?
Oh, he was saying...
Why is inflection?
No, there was something else he was saying.
Oh, talking too fast. What's that mean?
Nervousness.
You want to meet their expectation in case they won't pay attention.
This is his. That's why he knows.
This is my area of expertise.
This is his area of expertise. Why do you talk so blazingly fast?
Because of years of people not meeting my expectation.
So what do you think the speaking fast is going to do?
Just before they stop paying attention, I just get everything I have to say out there, and hopefully...
You think that if you basically shovel every single expectation out of your head, all 1,000 of them at once, that they'll just pick one. Because nobody pays attention anyway. At least if he gives them more at one time, you'll have a better chance of them listening to one of them. That's how he thinks he's going to enforce his expectation.
Yeah.
That's the super duper fast speaker. Right. Another common problem. Yeah. Okay, so you got to talk to this girl.
Yeah. So, the reason why... Well, first of all, I want to say two things. First of all, when you were mentioning...
You're going to say two things?
I want to say two things.
I like that you have two things and you're already prepared. It's like an outline.
Exactly two, dude. The first thing when you're talking about how, excuse me, the words in and of themselves aren't wrong. In this case, I just remembered, like, I said, hey, and I didn't get her attention, so I deliberately said, excuse me.
Excuse me.
Like, hey, this is important, you gotta listen to it. Right. So that can be an effective statement if used with authority, not out of trying to beg for her attention.
It's the way you say it.
Right. But the second thing, so
he said it like Pharrell, like in that song. Excuse me.
Exactly.
Right, okay.
So, and then the other thing, basically the reason why I said this whole thing in the first place is that Nick was talking about hugging. At the end, I'm just like, we had fun, whatever. I give the girl a hug. She doesn't resist. Gives a hug, whatever. We walk off. And the friends are like, dude, that was so amazing. You know, the nerd, I get the nerd,
you get the nerd approval.
Yeah, you can't hug random women you just meet like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
you can't do that.
Yeah, dude's like, dude, you got a hug out of that. Dude,
you got a hug out of that. Your front genital part touched from your pants to her clothing.
Exactly. Dude.
That was connected to her genital parts.
There was a transfer of...
So there's only 4 degrees of separation.
Oh my gosh, if you remove the clothing in the front, you're having sex basically. That is amazing. They did nerd math in their head. They were like, that's sex with the clothing.
Right.
That's clothing sex. Okay.
Right.
That's pretty sweet.
Dry sex.
So yeah, the hug is what brought that up in my mind in the first place. So yeah, nerds. So yeah, hugs impress nerds.
Hugs impress nerds.
They're not impressive to me.
Yeah, but at least your nerds are better. My nerds are like, you can't hug a random.
Yeah, they're just like, you can't even fucking do that, dude. You're gonna
That's like that reminds me of socially inept people when they first see a guy get a phone number. Like one time I remember when I thought phone numbers actually meant something, and I would go up to a girl in a bar, and I was like, this guy was just like fresh out of boot camp. He used to visit our farm, and he's like, I want to see you guys what you can do. So I went up to this girl in this bar, and I just flirted with her for about like 10 minutes, and I said, here, give me your number. I got her number. I came back, look, I got a number. He said, oh my gosh, dude, that's the most amazing thing. I can't wait to sign up. Little did I realize, and he realized, that numbers mean nothing.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, it's great when you get them, and they don't necessarily mean zero, but if you're not attracting a girl, sometimes a girl will just give you a number just to go away, just so you go away.
Yeah.
Or just because it's a reflex. It's like enough guys ask for it, she'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Or she'll give you a wrong one, or, any number of things. Yeah. So it's not like she's going to pick up the phone. So it depends.
It's a nice indicator that you're advancing.
It's an indicator that you're doing something positive versus not getting any numbers.
It's not an accomplishment in and of itself.
Yeah. So it can be deceptive in a way if you get a number and you're, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got a number.
Yeah.
What's our criteria or our hallmark of success. I don't know how I would say it. But we got
Well,
something
I'm
here.
pretty sure a lot of times, guys, how I know I'm doing this right, you say, when your dick is in her mouth, you will know that you're doing it right.
Or in a vagina, either one.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I would go even further and say, look, when you're in a relationship that meets your expectations, that's when you know, because you can pay for a hooker and have your dick in her mouth.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that's meeting your expectations that you have to pay for, but it's not meeting your ultimate expectations. So,
Right.
again, all these little steps in and of themselves mean nothing, are meaningless.
Yeah.
You have to take them in context of a relationship, or what your goal is, I should say.
Well, I mean, really, your happiness and your satisfaction is the true indicator.
Exactly.
You have to be responsible
Let's
enough.
say this.
Well, I just want to add, you have to be responsible enough not to lie to yourself. And
That's
say that
very
something
true.
is-
That's very true. Let's say this. Let's say you met a hideously fat girl.
Yeah.
You loved her in your relationship with her. Did you meet your expectations?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So, would it be wrong for me to say, hey, she's not hot enough, you should go get a hotter girl?
Yes, it would be wrong of you to say
Why would
that.
it be wrong for me to say that?
Because that's your expectation.
Exactly.
It's
I'm
not
trying to
my
enforce my expectation on you. That might not be your expectation.
Right.
If you're fine with that hideously fat girl and you want to be in a relationship with her, that's it. You're done.
Go for it. Good.
As
You
long
met
as
your
you're being
expectations.
honest,
If you're honest and you like that girl, you really want to be in a relationship
you
with
don't
her,
regret that she's a
you don't
man.
regret it, you've met your goal, you've met your expectation, you should discount everybody else's expectations at that point.
Mhm.
Including mine, including the teachers saying, hey, I don't approve her, she's not hot enough. That's ridiculous. We're not here to enforce our own personal preferences or views on you. We're here to teach you how to meet a functional expectation. And looks, to a degree, are subjective.
So even though you think that person can do better,
It's not up to you. It's your expectation. If they feel they're with somebody that makes them happy and they meet their expectation goals, great, good for them. Who am I to say, hey, I don't like her. I'm not in the relationship with her, right? I have nothing to do with it.
Right.
So
But at the same time, if that guy's dating a fat chick,
Yeah.
he's telling himself that she's a hot chick.
that's another story. You may say, hey, you may think, hey, I need to justify the fact that I'm in a relationship with somebody I don't want
Right.
to be with.
Yeah.
That's happened before.
Plenty of times.
So,
okay.
anything else you want to share about your
Oh yeah,
experience?
last night I went to a Mexican restaurant with a friend.
Okay.
Since I was constantly coming and boring you, I thought I'd go bore other
You
friends.
thought you'd bore other people. Okay. And let's talk about that. Why does Boggs bore me?
Because I can't really contribute to the conversation that much.
You can't contribute.
I can't initiate that much.
You can't initiate. That's exactly right. Because his social skills are so deficient in some ways, and they're actually highly improved in other ways, they're still not, they don't meet my expectations in a friendship. I expect to have somebody initiate, somebody to stimulate me, somebody give me something back out of the friendship. Whereas Boggs, it's largely a student-teacher relationship at this point. And although I enjoy him in the context of like this group, like hanging out with all you guys, it's very fun to have him here, but it would be more of a trial for me just to hang with him alone. Because a lot of it would be me leading, and it becomes a burden if he's not my baby, if he's not my girlfriend, if he's not my, somebody I'm responsible for. He's just another guy, and he should be contributing to this friendship by initiating some thoughts or initiating some stimulation in my direction as a guy. It becomes taxing on me. So this is what I eventually want to get to convey to you and get you to the point where you start contributing to your own friendships, and you start demanding that the people in your friendships that your peers with, or your friends with, the social groups you have, you start getting them to contribute. You start teaching them how to initiate. So a practical example would be this group. I would consider this group a friendship group, a social group. And right now, you guys aren't meeting my social expectations. You guys are friends who I have to babysit, basically. But in some ways, because you've been in the course for so long, you're learning how to express yourself candidly, how to stimulate me, or to the point where I actually enjoy hanging out with you guys as a group. It's very fun for me. It's not, whereas initially when we first started this, it was like hanging out with 3 plants, right? It's a burden for me. I got to basically tend you guys, right? I'm the one stimulating you guys. You're giving nothing back. You're just taking. But now, through practice, through constant practice, you're training to become your own person, to become an initiator. Where now, it's like Ladice. When I first hung out with Dr. Ladice, he was much in the same state you guys are in. But now, he's a person where he can come in here and talk, and I don't have to say anything. Because he's his own person, he can initiate. He's learned how to initiate. He's learned how to have a candid expression. He's absorbing things, he's reading things, he's learning things. So he's taking things in where he can respond to you and give reactions to his experiences. So that's why we're encouraging you to read, to go out and talk to people, etc. So you too can have some stimulus in your life, and now you can respond to that stimulus and share that with me. Share that with other people in your social groups. That's how you form your own social group, how you form your own friendship that meets your expectations, right? If it's not meeting your expectations, you're not doing anything about it. Do something about it, right?
So I go to the Mexican restaurant with my friend,
Okay.
and we see this cute Mexican greeter.
Hot hostess.
Pretty cute. I mean, she didn't have big titties, but a very cute face.
Wonder why they hire hot hostesses.
It's a greeter, okay. So she greets us, we eat and stuff, and then I tell my friend, hey, I'm going to go talk to her because I realize she's going to leave home. So I go to,
You realize she's going to leave home? She's going to run away?
No, it was pretty late, 10:30 at night. So she's going to go home.
Oh, go home. Okay, go back home, right?
So I told my friend I'm going to go talk to her. Like,
before she leaves, right?
Yeah, before she leaves. So I go to the restroom, I wait, she's talking to some other guy, I wait, she's done. And then I come out of the restroom, she's already gone. I'm like, oh shit. So then I run out.
You sprint out after her in a dark alley. Your usual MO is sprint and chase down women.
Like how I chased the blonde, I had to chase the Mexican chick up.
This is awesome. This violates every social, what do we call it, seduction community tenet of PUA pickup artistry, where you're not supposed to. Mystery says you're not supposed to approach women from behind in dark alleys. Of course, Boggs violates all these rules.
Oh yeah, and it was dark at night.
Proving their bullshit. Okay, keep going.
It's dark
at night.
Yeah.
Plus, he's dark.
Yeah, dark. So, I'm searching for her. Then I see her near her car. So I start running toward her.
Starts running toward the car. She thinks you're either going to rape her or take her money and jack her car. Right?
And then
she's fearing for her life.
Towards the end, I slow down and then walk beside her car and maintain a distance so that she's not scared. Then I come up to her.
She wasn't scared of the initial sprint, but now she's disarmed by his casual walk for some reason. Okay.
I like how maintain distance so she's not scared. It sounds like he is playing.
I like how if I saw somebody out of the corner of my eye, I would see somebody out of my peripheral vision sprinting at me. I would think, wait a second, something's either he's on fire, there's danger, or he's trying to do something to me. But now he casually just starts.
Yeah, dude, when he starts maintaining the distance, that's like even more creepy.
Maintaining distance. Okay. Keep going.
I go to her window and she's looking at me and then I'm like, hey, and one time she lowers the window.
She lowers the window for some reason.
And I was like, hey, I just want to talk to you, but you're really cute, so I want to talk to you.
Oh, so initially he comes in right with the approval, okay.
Yeah. Oh, she's like, oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And then I get closer.
Closer. She's awesome.
I'm like, yeah, I like you. I think I like you. And I'd like to go on a date with you. No, maybe we could go to date to the Mexican restaurant again.
We can go to your Mexican restaurant. That's great. Awesome date idea.
And then I was like, yeah, just joking. We could go to the beach, go get some lemonades.
Go get some more lemonade.
What a joke, dude.
Go get some cotton candy. That's awesome. He's telling jokes now while he's
You go to your work. Just kidding.
Just kidding. We're going for lemonades.
And then I was like, I was like, we could go ride the Ferris wheel, get some churros. She's Hispanic, so I thought she would know what churros are. It would, fit well with her, whatever.
Some lemonades, some cotton candies,
churros and Ferris wheel.
Some sandwiches.
And then she's like, oh well. And then she's very kind of shy, and but she's smiling, and she's like, well, I just got with my boyfriend. That's what she said. But I turned around and said, oh, you just got away from your boyfriend. Sweet, that works out.
That works out. That's awesome.
She's like, no, I just got with my boyfriend.
Oh, I just got with him. Oh, that's awesome. I just want to be your friend. Just give me your number. Let me call you, talk to you, build up the relationship.
I was like, yeah, me too. Actually, and then I said something.
Me too. My boyfriend. I just got away from my boyfriend.
And I was like, yeah, just make sure you don't bring your boyfriend to the date. And she's smiling.
Okay,
and
sweet.
then,
she's smiling.
Yeah. And then I was like, yeah, why don't you give me your number? You never know. What if you and your boyfriend don't work out?
There you go.
And then she's like, well, okay, how about you give me yours? I was like, okay, fine.
So basically saying, hey, how about I just don't call you at all, but just give me your number so it seems like it.
So I started giving her my number, I tell her my number.
The brush off, right?
And then...
Always a bad sign when a girl says, no, you give me your number.
Yeah. Then she's entering her number,
She's using it as toilet paper before she
She's entering my number.
Right.
And then she's done. I'm like, yeah, now how about you press that green button?
Yeah, press that green button, you bitch.
And then she's like, oh, okay, she pressed the green button.
Oh, now you got her number, you tricked her. Now you're stalking her, now you're watching her outside her bushes, your binoculars.
So I got her call, and I'm like, okay, I'll give you a call one of these days. You never know.
And if I don't give you a call, I'll be outside your window with the binoculars. Because now I have your phone number. I'll trace you on the internet.
After that, she was like, okay. I was like, all right, bye, see ya.
See ya.
And then she drove up. I walked back to the restaurant and ate my burrito.
Okay, so basically you didn't get her number under good circumstances because you didn't create any valid attraction that you know of.
Yeah,
But at least you have the opportunity. You have a phone number now where you can call her and leave her a message.
Hey, I'm ready to go to the beach and get the churros and the lemonades, and we can also walk around holding hands.
Sweet.
So that'll be fun.
Did you do that already?
No, I haven't done it already.
Sweet.
That's already failed, but anyway.
I'm impressed, dude.
Yeah, but I would, instead of him harping on this date thing, they should already go, I would concentrate more on conveying who he is to her.
Yeah.
Basically relating himself to her because he's basically given her no reason to go on this date.
Well, it's
with
essentially a routine at this point.
Yeah, it is. But he's saying it's good that he's initiating and whatnot, but he's really not being candid enough to give her a reason to go on a date. He wants to give her the reason to say yes versus just say, hey, let's go on this and let me candidly describe this date, which may be appealing in itself that he's candidly describing it, but
not enough, though.
Not enough to the point where she's going to go, oh, this guy's still a total stranger in my mind. It's like saying, let's go to this great place, Hawaii, which is an appealing place, but who am I going with, a serial killer?
Right. Especially if she already has a boyfriend or whatever.
Right. Of course, that's another obstacle. Maybe you could overcome that with enough
assuming
expression.
assuming the boyfriend wasn't there. What are we talking about? We're talking about the expression
Relating
part.
myself.
It's going to be essential either way. That's not going to.
So, relating-
whether the boyfriend's there or not.
Yeah.
If he had done better, the boyfriend might have been a non-factor. She might have been so impressed.
Right.
So relating myself, I mean, to my understanding, my limited, crappy understanding, me going to the beach is kind of expressing myself, getting the lemonades and the.
Well, it is expressing yourself, but it's not talking about
myself.
you.
I didn't know I had to do that. Like, I mean, from my bad listening skills,
you never listen, so that's why you're the worst student of all.
Of how you
don't know that you need to express yourself.
I want to let somebody else.
Are you absolutely serious?
Yes, I am absolutely.
You did not know that you needed to express yourself.
No, I did not know.
He just thought that she was just going to go on a mysterious date. He thought basically it was like the dating game. He'd give her the prize, and then he'd randomly insert a guy from from the back of Sears or something, or some lotto bin pick.
Right.
Some guy would just take her on a date, not him.
Right.
Just anybody. He was just trying to get her to go on the date.
Yeah.
He was making the date appealing.
He's bachelor number 2, basically.
So, franchise, tell me how you would express yourself and tell her about yourself. Or
I don't know,
I'm an engineer,
because I didn't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't experiencing that experience of her. But if you're there, then you at least have something that is affecting you to draw off of. I mean, you're just like going in with your standard routine. I'm just trying to understand. If you didn't know that you had to express yourself, what did you think you had to express?
The date scenario.
He thought the date was just him.
The
in
date
a sense,
is the thing.
it is him because he's the
He's the one who came up with it. Yeah.
But in her mind, it's just him describing a great date.
Yeah.
And she's giving him a good
He's the
experience.
announcer on the game show, basically, right? You've won a trip to Carnival.
Exactly.
Where you'll be joining some random dude to or chocolate, lemonades and churros.
Lemonade. Exactly. That's exactly what he's doing.
Dude.
She hasn't connected the dots yet that she's going with him.
That date is him, yeah.
Can you please give me an example, please?
Can I give you an example?
Yeah, of you expressing yourself to a girl. That way, she knows you're the one going on the date.
Well,
I
could.
I am Professor Plum, whatever.
I could, but it's usually contextual. Like, it comes up where you're talking about something, or you bring something up. While you're talking about that thing, your candid expression conveys a lot about you. This is what you are not doing, not applying. Like, let's say we're talking about, hey, what's going on, da-da-da.
Say you talk, well, I mean, it's like simple.
And they ask me something, and it comes up, and it leads to something I did.
Yeah.
I went out surfing or something.
Right.
And now I talk about, candidly describe that whole experience to her. That conveys who I am.
Right.
Versus I just say, hey, let's go on this date, and I candidly describe the date. It may be appealing, but I really haven't talked about me and my experiences, my reaction to my experiences. That's what she wants to know. What type of person you are conveyed through your reaction to your experiences.
Right.
So I could have talked
It doesn't specifically have to be, I am Professor Plum. I am an engineer.
Right.
I went to
I'm
X
6'3".
school.
I'm
6'3". I weigh 220 pounds. All that is not necessary.
Right.
It's helpful when you're getting to know some person, but it's more
like
helpful to be.
details.
Yeah, those are logistical details. What matters again is how you convey your reaction to your experiences. That is what separates you, not the physical description or what you've done, what occupation you have.
So I could have told her how, like, before I ran out.
Even your occupation.
There you go.
She's going to take your occupation. If you just told her, I'm the plumber, she's going to say, this guy doesn't earn a lot of money, or this guy is dirty, or this guy's whatever, right? She's going to take what you said and apply that to you. Unless you take what you are, if you're a plumber, and you start being candid about your experience as a plumber, that conveys more of your person to her. Everything you say conveys your person to her. But if you just leave it out there as, look, we didn't
even do that. Because I'm the random guy with a date. I mean, that's
right. I'm the random guy with a date. You might as well say I'm the cook. She's taking that to mean, what does she think? What is her experience of a cook? If she doesn't have an experience of a cook, she's going to take the TV experience of a cook and apply that to you.
Yeah.
So you're being passive. You're letting her determine who you are versus you saying, "Here's my candid expression of who I am. This is why you should date me." This gives her the reason why you're not this cook over here. Otherwise, you fall into the cook category. You fall into the stockbroker
Are
category.
you a cook or are you Emerald Lagasse? Because Emerald Lagasse is somebody.
Are you a rock star? Are you an exciting person? If in her mind, rock star equals excitement. That's why when commonly seduction community talks about picking stereotypes, picking a cool occupation, they're retarded. They have no understanding of what candid expression does. So that it's not necessary for you to be a rock star. It's unnecessary for you to have a cool occupation. What matters is what you convey of your experience of your occupation or your experience of what you're going through. That reaction is key, not your fucking occupation. This is why the seduction community is basically full of retards and morons.
So could I have also said, just before, kind of running out to talk to you, I was eating these tortilla chips, and the salsa was so
You
spicy.
could say that. That
Yeah.
all talks about your
It
reaction
was
to your
so spicy. I was like,
Why is he babbling nonsense? Didn't we just cover this? He just wants the approval now.
No, I don't want that. I'm trying to
Well,
understand.
he's trying to get a. He's
I'm trying to get
like
what I could have
conceptual
said in that
understanding of it.
instance, and that's so what clicked
I
in my
thought we
mind.
just gave him a conceptual understanding. I thought I just gave him a
And I
Yeah,
wanted
dude,
to
he's
give you an
trying to link
example.
it to
Yeah.
something that he could have said
Yeah, I
or would
could
have
have
said.
said-
He had an experience about the
So you're
tortilla
saying I'm
chips, so he's
impatient
saying,
with him and I'm frustrated with him. Is that what you're trying to imply?
Well, I think a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I am frustrated, and
I don't
think
blame
am.
you for that, but I think that would be a valid reason.
I think I am impatient with him. I think like enough times explaining it, I should expect him to just get it.
I mean, basically, like right now, there's about 200 things in this room that I could comment on. So when you're standing there, you could comment on the color of her car, you could comment on the chips you just ate, whatever. So yeah, the chips is one possible thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Usually
I don't
it came in
care.
my mind
I don't
now.
care what you're saying right now because I feel I've discussed it to the nth degree.
Yeah, dude,
and I
he's
feel like
he's trying to
it's.
connect it to.
I know, but
his
it's indicative of me of the problem because if it was like if this is
maybe
the
my
first time we
small
met,
understanding,
if this is the
like-
first time we met, I would humor your explanation or I would humor your response. But this is like the billionth time we've met.
I think the problem here, dude, is like you said, yes, that's valid, and he still wants like more and more approval. And he
That's what I'm
wants, like,
saying.
Yeah.
He's a validation fisherman. That's
Yeah,
what I
you
don't
asked
want
him
to
to
do.
talk about the chips. He said yes. Therefore, you should respect that yes to say, okay, I'll talk about
Yeah,
the
that
chips
is.
next
See,
time.
that's part of my.
And that's
That's
pretty
part
much
of
where
my
it is.
conversational or my social interaction expectation is that he respect what I said, which means
Right.
basically he's listening.
Right.
But through history, we've
Right.
shown that he's not listening.
Right.
That's why it violates my expectation to keep going on and saying, "Oh, here's my."
Right.
You mean this? You mean this? You mean this? Or he's just basically a validation.
But at the
fisherman.
same, but see what you're saying? Like you said, can I talk about the chips? He said yes. That should be the end of it, right? But I like this though because he's like at least practicing. Talking
I
about
agree.
the chips
I
right
agree.
now.
The practice is good, but I've told him to practice a billion times and with other people, not with me right now.
Right.
It's unnecessary. I mean, it's great that he's
I wouldn't
enthusiastic
say
to
it's
do it.
unnecessary.
Well, unnecessary for me.
Okay.
It's unnecessary for me to hear it.
I can approve of that.
I don't want to hear it. I want you to go practice and listen. If you listen, you won't need to repeat that retarded example. You'll
To
realize
me,
that
it's a big thing, like realizing.
I know, but to me, it's a bigger thing that you listen. So the real problem is not me being intolerant; it's you not listening. Again, if this is the first time you said this, I'd be, oh yes, you're getting it. But this is the billionth time you've done this, so I just tune it out. That's why you're the worst student to me. That's why now when I look at your progress, I see what you've actually done. I count that as progress. To me, that's like, oh look, he's talking to people. That's actual progress. Whereas if you tell me, oh here, let me fish for some validation from you. Is this the way it's doing it properly? Is this the theoretical way to get this? I've stopped doing that now. I've stopped caring about your explanations. I'm caring more about your results now, your effectiveness now. I don't care about all that. That may still be important to you because you haven't practiced it, obviously, but to me, it's unimportant. I don't care about that. Violates my expectations. Sweet.
Dude, I like how the lectures you give him now, or at least you've made progress, but as opposed to you don't make any progress at all. Like that's
Well,
a transformation
yeah,
that's,
but
that's happened.
to me, it's I've seen it when he's initiating. That is progress. He's doing something.
Yeah.
Versus.
It's getting better though. That's
Yeah. Awesome. Any other things you want to convey about your experience there?
No, my mood is kind of down, but
He's always. The good thing is whenever you get the exposing, you start to see I'm dysfunctional. This is what we talk about. There's various reactions. There's the rebellious reaction. Fuck the professor. There's the down reaction. Oh, I'm a failure. I'm a loser. I'll never get this. That's another one of Boggs' common reactions. There's various reactions. Again, I don't pay attention to those because those are like chicks when they get passive aggressive and they start going, "You're being mean to me" or whatever. I just don't tolerate them. So I just move on. Basically, it's understandable. It's understandable that when exposure or when your dysfunction gets exposed and you realize I'm disorderly in this area. Yeah, sure, it's natural to feel down, to feel bad about yourself. But like we say here, our goal is not to humiliate you or to expose you. Our goal is to get you to see this is the problem, handle it like an adult, grow up, and just practice. The way out of this is to practice, not to dwell on it. And Boggs is a dweller. I won't accommodate that. If I'm going to go, oh, you know what, there, pumpkin. I'm accommodating his dwelling, his desire to dwell on that. If he had, again, this is kind of an artificial situation because this is a classroom. I'm not his parents. If I was his parents or his mother, I would be at more at liberty to comfort him, and his father would be at more at liberty to kick his ass. But this is an artificial situation. We're basically his surrogate parents in a sense, all your parents in a sense, in that we're giving you the direction and the mothering. So it's difficult as just a professor just to convey that to you guys and just to play those roles. I can't do that. So that's why we have this community. We have this entire online community here at Manhood Academy where you guys can practice with each other, can share experiences with each other, can comfort each other, can get inspired by each other, as you guys have all done. and I will do my part. I'll try to do my part. I'll try to not be as harsh on you as possible. I possibly can be. I want to be strict with my expectations, but I also want to be accommodating of your level of dysfunction, because you guys come in with various levels of dysfunction. As you may not know, the Indian culture is very dysfunctional. Bog's a prime example. Another guy in our forum, High School 101, a prime example of dysfunctional listening skills. It's just irritating to the nth degree. But there's also guys like our mysterious student number 2 who has come up with a cultural background that is authoritative. So he has an advantage in that respect. He's dysfunctional in that he doesn't know what he's doing. He has no direction. He has no idea how to interact with girls. But it's much easier to teach him because he has a cultural background already where they give him a model of authority. His parents are authoritative already. So he has that head start. Again, doesn't mean it's impossible for anybody else. As you guys are, I always love talking to the worst students because they're the proof that this is not about Professor Plum or Dr. Ladice having superhuman abilities that nobody else can possibly match. We're just all of a sudden what the seduction community commonly refers to as naturals, a completely bullshit concept. This is all training. This is not naturals. Our mysterious student number 2 doesn't have natural training. His parents, his cultural environment trained him growing up that he wasn't aware of, but the influence of his father, how he interacts with women, how his mother interacts with his father, that is all teaching him something about how he should act indirectly. It may not be a lesson like a lesson format like is going on here, a lecture here, but he's learning just by watching them. They're the model for his behavior. So when you're growing up, there's no such thing as a natural. It's all training. You have training that is influencing your natural capabilities, and those things you're being socialized according to your culture, your parents, your peers, the media, all these things. That's why we have a feminist culture that is emasculating guys. It's training them to act like chicks. That's why you guys are here in the first place. Our American culture is very feminist. It's very emasculating. It says you guys shouldn't have authority. It really says that women should have authority over you, not you should have authority over women. It tells you that's bad. Women having authority over you is good. So you guys are told just the opposite message, and this fucks up all your social relationships with men and women. So now guys are irritated hanging out with you because you're like a chick, and chicks aren't attracted to you because you act like chicks. And we even had this. It was awesome. We just went and did an interview yesterday with a girl who was attracted to some guy in a relationship with him, but because he had no spine, never said no to her, never cared about his expectations. What happened to that attraction on time? On camera. What did she say? Take a guess.
I just fell out of love with him.
Yes. And we got it on camera.
Nice.
So that's awesome. It's awesome to hear it out of the horse's mouth, so to speak, from girl's own mouth, saying, look, that's right. We're validating what you guys are saying here. We don't realize it when we are. We're saying, look, if the guy doesn't have authority, even if we initially like him, even if he's a cute guy, we'll fall for his orderly facial structure. He has money. We're fall for his orderly ability to get his necessities met.
Or he initially
validates. He's creating an orderly social interaction in some sense.
Buy them dinner.
But if he ultimately does not have authority over me, I lose attraction in the long run. And perfect testimony. So,
and this morning I went to the chiropractor.
Yeah.
And there's a cute blonde receptionist there.
Okay.
And all these days I didn't think of asking her to like ask for it. I told her, hey, you're really pretty. I like your blonde hair and the white dress.
Speak up. Can't hear you.
I told her that hey, you're looking really pretty. I like your blonde hair on your white shirt.
Right.
Like, oh, thank you. And then
thank you, validating.
I stated interest in a gay manner. I said it makes me wanna. It almost makes me want to ask you out.
It almost makes me want to like you. Almost makes me want to ask you out. Okay.
And at that point, she was like,
a little indirect, but kind of implying what's going on here.
And at that point, she immediately said, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm taken."
I'm sorry, but I'm taken. At which point you said, "Look, bitch, I didn't really actually want to ask you out. I was just implying that."
No,
right?
But I said, "But you don't have a ring."
Boggs always likes to have a get out of jail free card, so he doesn't have to commit to saying he likes her. He always says,
in this case, I did.
Okay.
And I said, "But you don't have a ring." And she's like, yeah, but you know.
But I don't like you.
I like how you go Mr. Hyde so fast. But you don't have a ring? How
you don't have a ring, bitch.
What are you talking about?
You're a lying slut.
Yeah, but he's like,
you don't have a husband. You're a lying slut. You get in this alley right now.
It's like passive aggressive to an extreme degree, though, dude. Like the aggressive part is way strong, though. That's the point. That's the amazing part.
What's the passive aggressive? Explain that. That's a perfect example. What's the passive aggressive?
The passive aggressive part in
this
case. Yeah, the passive aggressive part is like he's too passive to actually ask her out. He has to almost kind of want to ask her out, but then he's
what is he trying to do with this ring? You have a ring. What's that trying to do?
That's the aggressive response. Is like it's overly aggressive.
He's trying to do what to her?
You don't have a ring.
He's trying to shame her, make
shame
her feel
guilt
bad.
her, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's
like,
like,
you're actually liking me. I'm going to shame you.
Yeah, the passive part basically says I'm not good enough to actually do this the right way in the first place. But then the aggressive part is, oh, it's your fault.
It's your
me
fault,
not being
bitch.
good. Yeah.
Bitch, you should have liked me.
Yeah.
That's an excuse.
At least you should wear a ring.
That's like passive and aggressive textbook right there.
Sweet, that's
I'm just
textbook.
amazed how aggressive the aggressive part can be.
I know.
Because, like, naturally you think, like, if you don't have the guts to say hi to a girl, obviously you're not going to have the guts to call her out on not wearing a ring. But
Yeah.
it's like an immediate response. It's like,
Thus
you
we
fucking
have-
son of a... Thus
the Indian culture, the most mysteriously confusing, dysfunctional culture I've ever come across. How can she slap epitomize that? How can guys be so bold and yet so emasculated and pussified at the same time? It shocks me. It boggles my mind.
Persian guy style.
That's why he's a mind boggler. He just boggles my mind.
I know, dude.
It's like social interaction. People are like open books if you know how to read them. Like if you understand principles, you understand needs. People always fall in along those lines somehow,
Right.
and they let you know where they're at by what they say and what they don't say, right? And how they say things.
Mm-hmm.
So you can read people by it like an open book. Boggles. It's just like his book is like it's circular. I don't know. It's a pop-up book. I don't know what kind of book it is. I can't read it. He's the only guy that's ever stumped me. But I think this has to do with the Indian culture. He motivates me to research the Indian culture specifically to see what elements are there in the Indian upbringing that causes such dysfunction in the hearing
My dad's
and
like
in the behavior. Yeah, but why they're aggressive and yet so passive at the same time. That it boggles my mind. That's why I'm so interested in researching this, the Indian culture specifically, because I've only seen this in the Indian culture to this extent.
Right.
Any other experiences?
I mean, I told other girls that yesterday in my afternoon break I told a cougar,
Cougar.
a
Yes.
blonde cougar.
Yes.
I just hey, do you know what the time is? I was walking as my break,
Right.
And then I was like, never mind. I just want to talk to you. You seem kind of cute. I would like to go out with you.
Oh, sweet. Just right into a transition, right into stating interest. Maybe we should start talking about more candid expression.
Yes,
but
and then I told her, let's go to the beach, get some lemonade. And
some more lemonades, some more cotton candies.
And I told her, and if he walk around for a long enough time, then we'll get some cheeseburgers.
Cheeseburgers and lemonade. You should just put a picture of lemonade on your shirt and just point to it. And it's like saves you time. Let's get these and these.
But at least I told her if we walk for a long enough time and we get tired, we'll get cheeseburgers.
Okay.
I just said maybe if you get hungry. Yeah, I don't know if I said that.
Yeah, I don't think you're paying attention to anything you said. That's exactly why I want to push my head through plate glass right now. We talked about...
I got what you said.
Okay,
you should be more candid.
Good. Then don't give me your retardedness.
Okay, sorry about that. Force of habit, my bad.
Force of Indian habit.
Yes.
I think again, Indian culture, something in the Indian water, something in the curry. I don't know what it is. The parents, they're insane. I suspect it has to do with something with the living conditions because you know how dysfunctional their living conditions, where everybody craps on the street and they live like wall to wall. There's like on a normal block of people, we'd have like maybe 15 people, and in an Indian block,
India is
like
used to
1,000
chaos.
people.
In India, you used to chaos.
Yeah, so I think this chaotic living conditions has to do something to do with it. That's what my suspicion.
Well,
Not
because a
verified.
lot of the Indian people, at least most of the people I meet, they're all engineers. They all came over here to get better education, so they're at least in the nerd regime.
Yeah, but
right?
to me,
so
they're escaping their bad culture, their bad environment.
Yeah, dude, but I would think like those guys would have the same social problems that all engineers have, which is like passive aggressive.
Well, I wouldn't, because I would say, okay, like an engineer in Japan would have a different upbringing than an engineer in in a place where you shit on the street,
Right.
like India.
Right.
It's just like unsanitary, like these conditions. It's like a norm for them. This type of like closed, crowded living. I'm wondering what type of dysfunction this produces in the general culture and the climate. When you walk around the environment, what's that like? Living wall to wall with people.
I mean, I've heard from a lot of people from India that it's not that as bad as
It's not
It's not as bad as Slumdog Millionaire.
My
only picture of it in India is Slumdog Millionaire and
there are areas of
Benny
success
Lava.
but there's also
YouTube Benny
a lot of
Lava.
urban areas. I mean, where I grew up, there's not.
why can't you be like the YouTube Benny Lava guy? I'm on a high Benny Lava. You know that dance video?
I know what you're talking
That's
about.
the one. It's either Indian
never
guys
got
or
through the whole
that side.
thing,
They're
but
really
yeah.
cool with the Michael Jackson jackets, or they're Slumdog Millionaire. Chaiwala. They're on Chaiwala. Sweet.
Well, you see guys in the how can she slap?
Oh, can she slap? But they're all crazy. It's like these guys go on this game show to be emasculated by some chick.
Right.
Doing like just crawling on their bellies for chicks, basically. But this
Because-
one chick, she's
Exactly.
a total bitch.
Yep.
And then having a reaction, fighting her, and then having the whole audience just stomp his guts out.
That's
And
how
all
it is
these
in India.
emasculated
That is
guys.
the
And it's just like this basically this one chick is at the top of the pyramid,
Yeah.
controlling all these guys.
Yeah.
Who, if they really wanted to, they just take her out back and rape her. Really, I mean,
They could, yeah. Just not a doubt.
And there are people in India who do rape. I mean, that's
yeah. But the point is, these guys are like we've given this example before. They're like elephants that are raised as babies, and they have their foot tied to a rope, and they're huge, massive elephants. They can snap that rope in an instant, but they're trained in their head. They think that rope can hold me no matter what. I'm not strong enough to break that rope. To me, it's just like that with the Indians. They have like this chick who's in charge of like a studio audience of 500 guys who could easily overpower her if they really, really wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
But yet they're subservient to this one girl. She has no power over them other than her pussy, which she will not give to all 500 of them, and probably none of them.
Well,
So,
I think they're trained
like this
you gotta
promise of
respect
pussy.
women, that kind of
yeah,
thing.
but why are they respecting her?
retarded.
Bad training.
Bad
No,
training.
why are they respecting her?
Because they've been brought up that way. They've been told
Yes, why are they respecting her?
Well, fear of something,
fear of something.
but
Yes, fear of something,
They're
but what?
trained to respect her over
No,
time.
why are they respecting her ultimately?
Because she's a game show host, I'm
No.
assuming.
what? Because they're gonna get the crap beaten out of them if they do slap her. I don't
No.
know.
No, they don't want to meet her disapproval. They don't want her disapproval.
Why are they
Why do they want her approval in the first place?
Because they
She's
lack
a chick.
approval. They don't know
Why
how
they
to
don't
get
get their
they don't know how to
expectations
get their
met otherwise?
expectations met.
Do you guys just want approval from girls?
No,
What do you want from girls?
I want to fuck them.
Okay, so what?
They're-
What do they
They
want?
can't get their sexual needs met in
There
general.
you go.
Unless
So
through marriage.
and
Unless they
so
get married,
they think if we're
yeah.
not meeting the girls' expectations, we're not getting laid. We're not getting sexual access. We're not getting a marriage.
And what-
we're not getting a relationship.
Yeah,
We're
one
gonna
of
be
the-
outcasts.
Big ways where guys in India do get their sexual needs through marriage, like through culture. Otherwise, they would all be screwed in India.
Arranged marriage.
Yes.
Welcome to the culture of arranged
That's the only way
marriage.
they can get laid.
Sweet.
I mean, now, of course, there's some guys dating and stuff, but,
So we got a lot of emasculated males running around India.
Yeah, but also the same way culture does have some respect where the girl has been told.
I like the part where that's the only part I like.
No, it's kind of weird.
Where
Like,
you have this strange dichotomy where this chicks are like put down a lower level than men. I'm assuming that's what he's trying to convey. But at the same time,
they value them so much.
they value chicks so much.
Yeah.
Well, the culture says, hey,
right.
men are more important than women. It's like
I mean, it's just a juxtaposition, dude. The two different
cultural mindfuck. I want to just nuke India. I mean, I want to wipe it off the face. It's like when you're afraid of something, you don't understand it.
Yeah.
You fear it, so you just want to kill it.
Right.
I feel like India's like a Sasquatch or a werewolf. I just want to
You
fire
just be more
silver
comfortable with
bullets
what's
at it.
there. Just in
I
case.
feel instead of dealing with it,
You don't,
putting it on the top,
you
I
don't
feel
know
more
if it's a
comfortable
problem,
snooping
but just to be
putting it in a
safe.
parking lot.
Yeah.
That's
Just
on
to
the safe
hold
side.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want it infecting the rest of the world. I don't want Indian culture catching on, so I want to just resort to annihilation, basically.
Sweet. I like that strategy, dude.
Are we done? Can we go get some dinner?
Yeah, I think
That's
so,
we've
not bad.
gone for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of you guys got a sneak peek into our classroom setting, what we talk about, the issues we talk about, how we conduct class. We expect students to be competent here. Sometimes, actually, we've shown some examples. I'll ask students questions, and I want them to be able to competently tell me the material they've learned in the book. This is not theoretical knowledge we talk about here. This is actually for their experience. So if they don't have the experience, it's going to show. And even their understanding is going to betray that. If they can't give me a competent answer, it shows they're not listening, not paying attention. They don't understand how to have that experience in real life. So that's what we expect here at Manhood Academy. We just wanted to give you a little taste of that. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you all next time.